Hi, Assalamualaikum and Salam Sejahtera to my respected lecturer, Madam Shazrin. My name is Izzat Aizuddin bin Abdurrahman from BA 2431B. Today I want to talk about my individual assignment that is about the contemporary issues related to human resource. The topic that I have chosen for today is absenteeism in the workplace. What is the meaning of absenteeism at the workplace? Absenteeism is the term that is used to refer the failure of an employee to report for the duty when he is scheduled to work. According to Webster Dictionary, absenteeism is the practice of a habit or being in absent, and absenter is the one who habitually stay away. This absenteeism can be described as a habitual pattern or employee intentional absence from duty at work without a good reasons. But this is exclude the paid leave or any business-related occasion that the employer has granted the employee for a time off. This absenteeism can be viewed as indicator of employee poor performance at the workplace. After we understand what is absenteeism, now I want to share to you what is the causes that have made this employee tend to absent at the workplace. Firstly, one of the causes of absenteeism is depression. Depression is the mood disorder of a person that causes them continuously feeling of sadness or loss of interest. When the employee has a depression, it will affect them personally and people around him or her. According to Yale research report in the United States, that depression, whether it is work-related or not, depression will make employee twice as likely absent from work. Secondly, bullying and harassment is one of the common causes absenteeism at the workplace. Bullying and harassment can be happen anywhere at the workplace between co-workers or employee itself. Bullying can be happen by cyber, that is in the social media, physically, verbally, and social relation between workers. As harassment, it is more hurting the feeling of the person by cruel, offensive, insulting behavior. When this happens in the workplace, the employee who are being bullied or harassed by the co-workers or bosses that are more likely to absent from the work. That is the reason is they want to avoid a situation happen to them. Thirdly, absenteeism at the workplace can also cause from stress and burnout. This can be seen in today's modern world that a busy lifestyle has been commonly in the city, that we can see an employee has a heavy workload at the office and work in prolonged hours that will make them burn out. This also can be added that an employee need to handle about their increased pressure at work, financial worries, relationship issues, and personal stress. If the company that they has worked with are understaffed, it may have a higher incidence of burnout and stress among employees that will make them feel unappreciated, that later can cause employee avoid going to work, and this will lead them to absenteeism. Fourthly, family issues can be one of the causes of absenteeism at the workplace. This is because most of the employees that have their own family may take time out of their work to take care of their children or their elderly relative that is may ill or having some appointment, or they have care arrangement that has been fall through. Lastly, serious illness can be also one of the causes of absenteeism at the workplace. This may be happen to the senior employee at the workplace due to their health. They may have a chronic illness such as a cancer or allergic to this have made them affected in their ability to doing in their work. The most common health that linked with them are economic issues like hand and back and neck pain. This also can be seen that health issues is one of the most factor that happen in absenteeism at the workplace. by the action of absenteeism that happen at the workplace, it will show the negative circumstances to the employer and the employee itself. On 22nd March 2016, a Malaysian Employee Federation has made a survey that shows company in Malaysia has lost around more than 6 billion ringgit each year in loss of productivity from unscheduled employee absence. This survey has proved that absenteeism has its implication towards the company. First, the impact of absenteeism in the workplace is the company itself may reduce its profit margin. This is because when an employee is absent at the workplace, the company needs to cover its wage. But in the reality, worker did not contribute back to the company. This has caused loss for the company because they need to spend more on overtime pay or contract to other people. In industrial company, they also need to hire a temporary staff to cover the absent. So this will involve the cost of training, and this also make them to pay double to ensure that their goal of production that has been set can be met, but the profit that they have will be reduced. For a long run, this will affect the growth of the company financially. Secondly, productivity is the organization is also being affected. This we can see on the employee that absent itself. He or she did not produce anything towards the company but will be the liability to the organization. But this also affected the co-workers because they will need to overtime to cover the job for employee that absent, and even the supervisor itself, it will decrease its productivity. This is because the supervisor itself needs to spend time around 3 or 4 hours a week to dealing with absence and preparing or adjusting the workflow to make this keep still moving. So thirdly, the effect of absenteeism can be related to the motivation to workers also being affected because they will need an extra work or overtime to meet their goals of the company, and when this happens regularly, it will cause them a burnout. With an extra workload they need to cover, it will make them feel emotional pressure and stress that make them not enjoying to their work. Fourthly, the effect of absenteeism is limited growth potential. When we agree to work in a company, the employer could expect that the employee will increase their potential, ability, and expertise. But when this worker absent from work in a regular basis, it will make them not improve in this aspect, and this will make their potential and development will stall. Lastly, customer service also be affected from absenteeism at the workplace. When there are absenteeism in the workplace, there will be not enough workers that work in the office. So when in the peak hours, this will affect the customer service because the delivery of service to the customer will be delayed. So at the same time, it will affect the company reputation because they are operating below the standard service. Well, every problem that arises, it have its solution to overcome it. The ways that we can take to overcome these absenteeism issues is to set up a written attendance policy to the company. This is needed because organizations need to have to explain their employees on how the company definition of absence, on how to report an absence, and the procedure that plays surrounding absence. This is important to be implemented to the company because it is not only for the existing employees but also for the future employees. Next, we also need to set a clear attendance expectation to the employees. A company need to share the attendance policy with the employees as part as the new employee orientation process, and they also need to discuss what is the expectation for their attendance. The employees should understand how often it is acceptable to have an unplanned absence. Specifically, how many times of missing work crosses a performance line and what the consequences will be excessive absenteeism. Thirdly, an organization can provide an employee support to help employee in a challenging time. This can make an employer to help them deal with personal issues that might be affecting their attendance. This kind of support not only help employees through difficult time, but it will also to make them feel valued and make them feel their employer is care about them. This support will likely to make them feel happier to return at work early and prevent repeated absenteeism. The organization can also consider offering the employees to take time off and having a flexible working time. Fourth, organization can have a reward system to be implemented in the organization. Rewarding the employees is an ideal way to show them that the employee is care about the education that they show. The employee can set that, and when an employee has a good attendance for a year, they can reward a bonus. This also can be one of the criteria in a job appraisal to make sure that the employee has performance will be improved. Lastly, organization also can be implement a wellness program to the organization. The wellness program can help employee to reduce health-related absence and related stress among employees, but also at the same time it can improve morale and even employee productivity. This is because when the employee has a prolonged stress, it can lead to the health issues including heart disease, obesity, and depression. This is the reason why the organization needs to implement the wellness program so that this can be lowered and the number of health issues and absenteeism in the workplace. So as I can conclude that absenteeism is a serious and important for the organization to handle, because the issues is one of the main issues that usually happen in the organization out there. This issue is unhealthy to organization because it can harm the organization itself in terms of workplace environment, productivity of employees, and financially to the organization. I hope that organization can aware about these absenteeism issues and take a proactive decision to prevent these issues happen in their company.